Yeah, we can.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Namaskar. We begin today's program of our ode to our past presidents. This is a series and it's really popular. हम बड़ी उत्सुकता से इसका स्वागत करते हैं, इंतजार करते हैं और आज हमें ये मौका मिला है एक बार फिर अपनी दो बहुत ही प्रगाढ़ व्यक्तित्व की धनी दो महत्वपूर्ण पास्ट प्रेसिडेंट्स के बारे में जानने का। हमारी 20वीं प्रेसिडेंट थी श्रीमती अनुसुईयाबाई काले और 21वीं प्रेसिडेंट श्रीमती उर्मिला भास्कर मेहता। जैसा कि हम देख रहे हैं वो 1948-49 में एडब्ल्यूसी की प्रेसिडेंट बनी। ये समय था जब माहौल देश का बदल गया था। 1947 we got independence and in 1948-49 it was like the end of an era and beginning of a new India that had happened, and that is the reason why it is a very important period and very important things happening all around. Apart from nation building, सारे संस्थाएं बन रहे थे और एडब्ल्यूसी भी एक नए फेज में आ रहा था। जब हम विमेंस मूवमेंट पढ़ते हैं तो पता चलता है कि ये एक नया फेज शुरू हो गया था इंडिपेंडेंस के बाद। दैट इज हाउ वी टीच कि विमेंस मूवमेंट एक प्री इंडिपेंडेंस, एक पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस, उसमें इश्यूज बदल गए थे, बहुत सारे ऐसे नए नए मुद्दे आ गए थे। तो आज हम ये देखेंगे कि जो हमारी ये जो प्रेसिडेंट्स थी दोनों, अपार्ट फ्रॉम बीइंग rich in their own personal lives, how they contributed to the country and to the organization as a whole. So before we start this program, I would request our President Srimati Sheila Kakre ji to give her presidential address. Sheila ji.
Namaste. Thank you, Yutika ji. Namaskar and hearty welcome to my dear sisters and guests for yet another interesting webinar in the series of past presidents of AIWC. From today's presentations, our journey begins in the independent India. Under the guidance and leadership of Mahatma Gandhi ji, and unparalleled efforts of our brothers and sisters led us to the phenomenal victory and achieved the goal of independence by various tactics of non-violence and non-cooperation. In all the previous webinars, we have seen how AIWC presidents and other AIWC members were inspired and have put in their wholehearted fight to achieve their goal. Srimati Anusuyabai Kale was our 20th president and was from Dhantoli, Nagpur, and had in her team vice presidents Ms. Leelamani Naidu from Hyderabad, Deccan, Mrs. Ammu Swaminathan from Madras, Mrs. Ambujamal from Madras, Mrs. Hannah Sen, Lady Irwin College, New Delhi, Mrs. Renuka Ray from Constitution House, New Delhi, Srimati Kamalamma Dasappa from Bangalore City. Secretary General was Urmila Mehta, Central Office, Gilder Tank Road, Mumbai 7. And Honorary Treasurer Mrs. Mithan Lam from Kambalail, Mumbai. Today we have Anusuyabai Kale's granddaughter, her daughter's daughter, Srimati Priyamvada Chadda, to present her life sketch. Priyamvada, an architect by profession, has renovated AIWC's office in 2012-13, and now she has designed the building for old age home, which we are planning to construct on the plot donated at Mahavan by our member, Mrs. Pachuri, and her family. Very graciously, Priyamvadaji has opted to do the design of Ashiana Mahavan project as a donation for the noble cause. AIWC is ever so grateful for this kind gesture. We also have Shri Vilas Kale and Shivraj Kale, her grandsons, and Anusuyabai Kale's great-granddaughter with us today to share these memories and her work for the nation. We also have Mrs. Prajakta Kulkarni, SCM from Purva Vidarbha Mahila Mandal, giving us information on Anusuyabai Kale's association with the branch. I welcome all of you on AIWC's platform. Our 21st president was Srimati Urmila Mehta. She was staying at 15th Road, Khar, Mumbai that time. Srimati Mehta was a person who followed the ideals of simple living and higher thinking. She was a humble, knowledgeable, straightforward woman without hypocrisy, pride, pomp, and show. She was influenced by Gandhiji's freedom movement and, like many other AIWC members, had worked extensively for our independence and also in the communal riots which had taken place at the end of the independence movement. She had in her team as vice president Her Highness Maharani Vijayaraje Scindia of Gwalior, Srimati Lakshmi Menon, Patna University, Patna, Srimati Renuka Ray, Canning Lane, New Delhi, Srimati Amu Swaminathan, Madras, Srimati Tarabai Patwardhan, Narayanpet, Pune, and Srimati Jayashree Raiji, Darabsha Road, Mumbai. Secretary General Srimati Raksha Sharan from Madras and Honorary Treasurer Mithan Lam, Kambalail, Mumbai. For the benefit of our guests today, I take the opportunity to tell few lines about AIWC. All India Women's Conference is a 94 years old national level organization established in 1927 by Sarojini Naidu, Kamaladevi Chattopadhyay, Dr. Annie Besant, Margaret Cousins, an Irish lady having made India as an adopted motherland, with Maharani Chimnabai Gaikwad II of Baroda as the first president, having its head office now at 6 Bhagwan Das Road, New Delhi. The education and position of women in British India needed a lot to be improved, and the formation of the community of women to work towards improving the status of women was the need of the hour. Chosen representatives of the conferences held all over India in 1926 in response to Margaret Cousins' call attended a formal conference in Pune on 6 January 1927, and All India Women's Conference was established. Women and girls from all classes and creed were encouraged to avoid child or early marriage and to get formally educated. Women of stature such as Viceroy of India, Lady Irwin, Vijayalakshmi Pandit, Rajkumari Amrut Kaur, Srimati Rameshwari Nehru, Lady Ramarao, Maharanis of Bhopal, Mandi, Travancore, Dr. Muthalakshmi Reddy, Hansa Mehta, to name a few, were the stalwarts of this illustrious organization who very actively participated in the independence movement by Gandhiji. Also, AIWC rose further along and gained consultative status with the United Nations and at national level also. Institutions like Lady Irwin College, New Delhi, Cancer Institute, Chennai, Family Planning Association of India, Amrit Kaur Institute of Mentally Challenged Children, Old Age Home at Vrindavan are few among many others pioneered by AIWC, which are now autonomous bodies in India. All India Women's Conference also brought upon many legislative reforms in India, including the Universal Adult Franchise, Hindu Code Bill, Maternity Benefits Act, Sharda Act, etc. AIWC at its own level runs projects and programs implementing the Sustainable Development Goals. Regular creche programs, primary schools are also run, working women's hostels, short stay homes for distressed women in Vrindavan at head office also, and 10 more of the branches are running this. 3 trusts of education, health, senior citizens also run separate programs. National integration and communal harmony is in collaboration with National Foundation for Communal Harmony and Peace is being offered as the program to AIWC's vast network of branches, numbering around 500 plus all over India, with dedicated membership around 1 lakh and plus. Other programs conducted are various health checkups, anemia program, socio-economic programs for empowerment. Looking at the need of the hour, lot of awareness programs on gender sensitization, sexual harassment, legal awareness, environment and climate change, renewable energy, water and waste management are on virtual platform very regularly. E-Waste Collection Center has been started by AIWC head office and 10 more branches. Also, Zero Waste program has been launched at head office. During the pandemic, our members spread all over the country, extended their helping hand towards the needy in every form: food, medicine, sanitizers, oxygen cylinders, vaccination support, providing accommodation for medical doctors and paramedicals, etc. We in South Zone A, comprising of Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Pondicherry states, we have launched a program, Planet Abundantly Green, with the initiative of our Joint Secretary Supriya Bhalerao, with the help of Forest Department. Very recently, one of our Kakinada branch youth club bagged first prize for Ministry of Youth Affairs to make and keep their village Rampalam clean and beautiful. I'm sure you all are very eager to listen to each one of the speakers. So now I ask our moderator of this series of past presidents, member in charge, library, Yutika ji, to move forward. Thank you all for listening so patiently and enthusiastically about All India Women's Conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila ji. That was such comprehensively explained, and we got to know about who all were present at that time. Some of the ladies, grand old ladies together, were so dynamic in their doings. So we proceed with our program. And as is the trend, and we are lucky that every time we get some very good close relatives who throw a lot of light on our past presidents. And we take pleasure in inviting them, and very graciously they accept, and I think we all enjoy this together. So let's begin this journey. And before we start, I would also like to highlight the role of the library here. This was very meticulously established by our past presidents, and everyone took interest in that, and we pay back by having providing material to all the speakers and to our branches about our presidents and their doings and what AIWC is doing, as Sheila ji just informed us. So our first speaker of the day is our own, I would call our own because I know you so well, Piyu. And I later on got to know that you are known as Priyambada. So Piyu, Mrs. Priyambada Chadda, she's the granddaughter of late Srimati Anusuya Bai Kale. And she's an architect from Noida, also a member of AIWC. And as Sheila ji just informed us that she has designed our interior so well, and I'm so thankful. Library looks so different now. And I'm sure all the members who are present here, they agree with what has happened to the library. It's like a magic wand you have touched, and lo, and behold, it's a new library altogether. And same with the office and the other, the dining area of the AIWC. And you are an alumni of SPA and have done your architecture from Sushant School of Art and Architecture, Gurgaon also. You have designed several, places in the country, like the resorts and farmhouses. And very interestingly, you have even worked abroad in Vietnam. And of course, as Sheila ji said, you're also designing making the layout of Ashiana, the widow's home. At the same time, you have worked a lot for embassies. That is very interesting to note. That is the part you have been awarded with several awards as a student and as, Housing and Urban Development Corporation of India. And it goes on, and we are very lucky, Priyambada, that today you have accepted our invitation. And I would now invite you to give us your idea and your views about your journey into my Aji's world, your grandmother's world, as you have given the topic. Priyambada.
Thank you, Yutika ji. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a great honor to be invited to speak like this, and I hope I'm able to bring you all into Aji's world also. One small correction, Yutika ji, if you don't mind. I'm not from the Sushant School of Architecture. I am from the School of Planning and Architecture, Delhi. And I mean, everything should be toned down about what you just said. So, yeah. Okay, now I didn't know my Aji at all because I was only 3 when she passed away. The only source of information I had to really understand her was through this book that my grandfather wrote about her. And I mean, he's chronicled their time together in great detail. So everything that I say has been drawn from that book. Anusuya Bai, and I'm starting. Anusuya Bai was born in 1896 and she passed on in 1958. She was a social reformer, a freedom fighter, and a champion for the cause of women's rights. She fought for the downtrodden and the victims of violence, and she was really not a politician at heart, though she did hold office. She left an indelible mark on Indian history and is remembered and revered as an icon even today. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay. Then Anusuya ji was born in Belgaum, Karnataka on the 24th of October, 1896, just 4 days ago in terms of her anniversary. Even back then, I mean, she was born in a highly educated family, and even back then, 4 members of her family were educated abroad. She was a descendant of the Diwan of Aun state. Her father, Sadashiv Balakrishna Bhate, was an eminent lawyer of his time. Her mother, Gangabai, was a pious housewife and exposed Anasuya and her siblings to sacred texts from an early age, helping them imbibe a sense of dharma and correct values from the very beginning. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Is it showing? Okay. After some initial upheavals in life, Sadashiv Bhate became a prominent citizen. He was a well-known, no, it's gone way ahead actually. 1 second, I need slide number. Okay, I'll just, so after some initial upheavals in life, Sadashiv Bhate became a prominent citizen. He was a well-known industrialist and a philanthropist whose home would always be graced by learned and accomplished men. This lent it a solemn and intellectual atmosphere. He was very hospitable and on several occasions hosted personalities like Swami Vivekanand, Jawaharlal Nehru, Lala Rajpat Rai, Annie Besant, Sayaji Rao Gaikwad, Chitranjan Das, Sarojini Naidu, and Rabindranath Tagore. However, he had a very short temper and would explode frequently. Amongst the family, only Anusuya had the courage to handle him. So she learned to stand up to oppression and bullying also from a very young age. Then Sadashiv Bhate, yeah, these are the, Sheilaji, please can you show the slide number 4 of, no, the one before this, please. Yes, this one. So these are the people who used to frequent their home. And Aji had a lot to do with them in terms of interaction. So exposed to such vibrant, passionate, dedicated, patriotic individuals from her childhood, Anasuya, fondly called Bai, developed a strong personality and sense of purpose. Her strongest suits of service, duty, fairness, and courage were birthed in her childhood itself. Now, the next slide, please. Next slide after this one, please. Yes. But Anusuya did not attain her greatness without struggle. She was orphaned early in life and was brought up by her brother, Professor G.S. Bhate. Of the 3 brothers and 3 sisters she had, she lost an older brother in a drowning accident when she was just 6. By the time Anusuya was 9 years old, she lost her mother and younger sister too, to the plague epidemic. Her oldest sister, Venutai, Akka Azrekar, was already married by then, and her younger sister, Yamuna Hirlekar, was too young. Her older brother was pursuing higher studies abroad, and her younger brother Raghunath was a dreamer. So Anusuya had to step in to run the household, a task that gave her early lessons in the importance of fulfilling one's duties and responsibilities. Yamuna Bai Hirlekar was the founder patron of the AIWC Seva Bharti Dadar Matunga branch. Next slide, please. Then Anusuya was educated at Huzur Paga High School in Pune and Ferguson College, also in Pune, and later at Baroda College, Baroda. She learnt English by sitting on the lessons her father had arranged for her mother. She was fluent in Marathi, Hindi, and English. Huzur Paga was the first ever girls' school in India, established at Pune in 1848 by an Indian social reformer, Jyoti Rao Phule, and his revolutionary wife, Savitri Bai. Baroda College was later renamed Maharaj Sayaji Rao University of Baroda. Next slide, please. Anusuya's childhood friends. Anusuya was a tomboy and very naughty. Her mother always worried for her. She played with the boys, and her mother was convinced they would not be able to find her a suitable groom. She broke her leg falling out of a tree, adding to her mother's woes. But she had a shining spirit and was the most favored child of her parents. Her childhood friends were Sid Zoglekar, A.B. Sathe, B.B. Gokhale, and Nana Patwardhan, and they would get into mischief all the time. Next slide, please. Her childhood home in Belgaum, which was recently renovated. And the next slide, please. In 1892, as an itinerant monk, Swami Vivekanand stayed with Sadashiv Bhate on his visit to Belgaum. The room where Swami Vivekanand had stayed was maintained as a shrine. The cot, a large mirror, and a walking stick used by Swamiji are preserved there. In 2019, the then owner gave the property to the Ramakrishna Mission to serve as a memorial to Swami Vivekananda. Next slide, please. In June 1916, Anasuya married Purushottam Balkrishna Kale from the cadet branch of Kales of Waghere, Nasik, who was the grandson of Sardar Bapu Sahib Hazamnabis of Pune state from his maternal side. Next slide, please. The Kale family were Kokanastha Brahmins and hailed originally from Adevre in Ratnagiri district of Konkan. Some of their forefathers had fought alongside Shivaji Maharaj. Generations back, the Kale family was rewarded a Jagir as a symbol of gratitude, as the family shared their wealth with the poor and needy. Srimant Hari Trimbak Kale was the last Jagirdar of Waghere. In Adivre, Srimant Hari Trimbak's forefathers were high priests of the Kuldevta temple. The Kale family were one of the wealthiest and well-known families of Nasik, even before the time of getting the Jagir. They were Sahukars who helped the needy who visited Trimbakeshwar. They had a pawn and exchange business and a printing press. In 1869, the family founded and ran a newspaper by the name of Nashik Vritta. Next slide, please. P.B. Kale was an electrical engineer by profession and is credited with bringing electricity to Nagpur. Despite this and the stature of the Kale family, he was struggling to establish himself. He was a progressive thinker, a nonconformist, an idealist, had taken the oath of Swadeshi and was finding his footing in the freedom struggle. He saw Anusuya with a group of her friends at Ferguson College and felt immediately drawn to her. But it took him 8 months of pursuing to gain her approval. Bai was initially resistant because she wanted to become a journalist and not marry at all. Next slide, please. After her marriage to Sahib, as P.B. Kale was popularly addressed, the couple settled in Nagpur. Sahib started his theatre and automobile business and went on to do exceptionally well. People in Nagpur were great theatre lovers, and Bai and Sahib, with a few select friends, would often frequent the shows. As per custom, the men would sit in the front rows and the women at the rear. But Bai broke this tradition when she decided to sit with Sahib in the first row. Next slide, please. One minute. Bai was a very good singer and cook. After marriage, she willingly took on her duties with fervor. She would grind the flour, cook, clean, and take care of the children. She even drew water from a well to sustain her family. She was an involved mother and a dedicated homemaker. Next one, please. Bai and Sahib had 5 children, 2 daughters and 3 sons. They were progressive parents and believed that parents should not interfere in the ambitions of their children, nor be critical of their play. They wanted their children to be independent, confident, and outgoing. So when Bai started touring on work, she was racked with guilt for leaving her beloved children behind. Next slide, please. These are photographs of Bai's family. She's with her daughters and her youngest daughter's marriage, and she's with a grandchild, Vidul, and her daughters again in the last photograph. Next slide, please. I'll run through these slides because Anusuya would be covering this part of the presentation, but I'll briefly tell you what it is about. Bai's journey into social work began around 1915. Bai first began with the Servants of India Society at Jamshedpur, founded by Gopal Krishna Gokhale, and which ran creches and primary schools for tribal children. In July 1990, inspired by Thakkar Bapa, who worked for the upliftment of tribals in Gujarat, Bai started a school for Bhil children. Then in 1922, she became a member of the Bhagini Mandal, an organization set up by Umabai Kundapur, where discussions were held on topics like child marriage, girls' education, widow remarriage, etc. Bai was deeply concerned with and interested in these subjects and participated wholeheartedly, getting drawn into this new world of India's intellectual, social, and cultural fabric. The next slide, please. In 1927, under the leadership of Mrs. Cousins and Kamla Devi Chattopadhyay and the blessings of Sarojini Naidu, the All India Women's Conference was formed. Lady Gore hosted a tea party at Bai's home to select the 4 delegates, but nothing conclusive came out of the meet. Later on, a small convention was held at P.B. Kale's theatre. Parvati Bai Chitnis was the president and Sita Parmanand the chairperson. Kamla Devi Chattopadhyay proposed Bai's name as the government's representative. Bai came into prominence when she successfully organized 2 conferences, one for the All India Women's Conference and the other for the Bhagini Mandal. When the Home Ministry offered her a post with the Legal Council of the Central Provinces, she declined, citing her priorities to be a mother first and then a homemaker. She categorically stated that she will do social work only in her spare time, as she did not want her children to go astray out of neglect. But fate willed otherwise. Next slide, please. Bai regularly corresponded with her friends and associates, amongst them Nutan Ghosh, Rajkumari Amrit Rao, Kamla Devi Chattopadhyay, Rani Rajwade, Sarojini Naidu, and Greta Cousins, and they were in constant touch. Next slide, please. In 1930, when Gandhiji started the Salt Satyagraha, he wanted one member from every family to join him. Sahib immediately volunteered, and Bai was horrified. For some years after their marriage, Bai and Sahib faced very hard financial deprivation, as Sahib's struggles in business weren't over. Bai had become extremely insecure and did not want to find herself in the same situation ever again. After much discussion, Bai and Sahib decided that Bai would join Gandhiji so Sahib could continue earning for the family. Sahib did not want Bai to go because he could foresee a very hard life, including the possibility of incarceration. Besides, if Bai went, the children would be deprived of their mother. In the end, however, it was Bai who joined Gandhiji and, as Sahib had feared, was later imprisoned as well. Then this slide is basically at the timeline, which, next slide, please. Anu will cover this, so I'll get on to the next slide. Even this Anu will cover. Okay. Sheilaji, we can go to the second last slide. Bai was, no, the one before this, please. Okay. Bai was most intolerant towards lies and injustice. She had a scalding temper, but was equally kind and loving. She wanted a fair and just world for everyone, where their full potential could be realized in an atmosphere of trust and fair play. She did not differentiate between caste, creed, gender, relatives, or even faith. She was a caring and fair mother-in-law. She wanted financial security, but easily gave up everything. She wore khadi all her adult life. She was jailed in a B-class jail, but stuck to her commitment to the country. Sahib had prospered, and Bai could have returned to a life of luxury. But having committed herself to the cause of India's freedom, she tirelessly followed Gandhiji in all his quests. She died on the 12th of August, 1958 in Bangalore after a brief illness. Next slide, please. This is just what these people had to say about her. These are excerpts from the book. G.T. Madkholkar, 1962, writer, playwright, poet, and editor, Tarun Bharat Nagpur. He says, in the annals of history, when one writes about the feminist movement, may the name of Anasuya Bai gain prominence. Her main focus was to bring about a change in the status of women in Madhya Pradesh and involve them in socio-political life. And then he goes on to say, Bai was capable of extreme love, sympathy, and even anger. Life sometimes presents to you such personalities that influence you the most, and in mine and my wife's life, Anasuya held that position. Whenever I think about her, I'm overwhelmed, wondering if I ever will meet such a warm, dynamic, and proud personality ever again. And then he says, in conclusion, after my wife's demise, Anasuya advised me to seek another soulmate, as she feared I would be lonely in old age. And then Mr. M. Kannamwar, 1962, because the book was published then, State Minister for Development and Chief Minister of Maharashtra, 1962 to 63. He says, a true nationalist leader and a woman of vast strengths. I have been associated with Anasuya Bai Kale for the past 30 years in the field of politics. We were under the influence and guidance of Nara Kesari Abhyankar. When Mr. Kale asked me to write a foreword for his book, I gladly accepted. As I was getting a chance to praise Anasuya's social and political contributions. And then lastly, there are many more, but I've just chosen these three. Kamala Devi Chattopadhyay. I was very proud of Bai. Bai was very democratic and considered all people as equals. She would never distinguish between social orders, and she had many, many friends. That's it. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for listening in so patiently.
Thank you so much, Priyambada. That was amazing. And we could get an overview. Yeah, no, it was so good. And some beautiful pictures you have, you know. These are collector's item. I just request you to check your CV which you forwarded. In that, there's a line. So just check your CV which you had. Okay. I thought I'll inform. But that was amazing presentation, and I'm sure some such more presentations are lined up, and we are going to thoroughly enjoy these. Our next speaker is the great grandson. Are you great or great grandson? I just wanted a clarification.
Oh, okay, I'm next.
Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm the great grandson.
Great, 2 greats, right?
Yes, 2.
Because I kept on counting. Anyway, so this is Mr. Shivraj Kale with us. He's from Nagpur and is very young. He's a student, as we all can make out. He's working on his dissertation, majoring in anthropology and minoring in film studies with so many other different subjects. That's so interesting to be in. And you are from the Symbiosis School of Liberal Arts in Pune, with so many hobbies like history, painting, wildlife. And I'm sure you are a proud descendant of your Bai and the family, which you are going to hear just now. So over to you, Mr. Shivraj Kale. You are going to talk about a very nice title you have given, The Weight of My Aji's Legacy. So that would be, we want to see the weight, how weighty. Yeah.
Okay.
And not to forget, you are a feminist.
Yes.
So we give 3 cheers to you.
Thank you.
You are a feminist. Good to know.
Okay, pardon me for my voice. I have a little bit of cold, so hope it doesn't spoil the presentation. So I would like to say greetings to all present here. Before I speak a few words on Anusaya Bai Kale, I would like to mention I'm not a talented orator or a public speaker like her, so please bear with me. Uh, sorry. I have titled my section, the section, the topic I have given it as The Weight of My Legacy, or The Weight of My Aji's Legacy. Because Anusaya Bai has achieved so much as an individual in her public life as well as her private life. And even though like I'm blessed to enjoy this legacy, I feel there's this weight, or rather this force, which motivates me to better myself and strive to add value to this legacy. That's the reason why I have um, so I was fortunate enough to have met Anusaya Bai. All I know about her is through the book Anusaya and Me, which PUR mentioned. So Anusaya and Me basically was a private journal, which was eventually converted into a book, and it is about Sahib and Bai and their life together. So I will just move on. Yeah. So because I know Anusaya Bai only from Anusaya and Me and the stories, I can't like I'm sorry. What I understand of her is that she is a strong-willed individual. She was self-determined and hardworking. I become speechless and find it quite hard to express financial advice for me, because if I try to, I find myself limiting her dynamic and versatile personality. The only thing I know is from the books, right? So I don't want to glorify her, or because her life is a testimony of that. Am I rushing too fast? I'm sorry if I am. Okay, so as you mentioned, I'm a feminist. So I would like to say that I'm a feminist. My feminism traces back to Anusaya Bai's beliefs, values, and ideologies, which are there in Anusaya and me, and also my liberal arts education. I think a majority of what I've learned, like my feminism comes from her, because I realized something after reading Anusha and Me, that gender is very futile in itself, and it doesn't determine your capabilities or your potential. So that's why I feel, that's why I admire, and I can't even fathom how Anusaya Bai was a devoted social worker, a freedom fighter, a loving wife, involved and a supportive mother. And there's so many roles which I can't even fathom right now. And what I feel, what fascinates me is that how she can do all of that in at the same time. How can she be so many persons at the same time? Oh, okay.
I think it's a poor connection we are facing. Some problem with network, Shivraj.
Looks like that.
I
He's
think,
speaking from Nagpur.
yeah, I think so.
I think he's gone off the net.
No,
Oh,
he's
coming
there.
back. He's come back.
He's-
He's come back.
Hello?
Please come back.
It's okay. It's okay.
Hi.
You're back.
I'm extremely sorry.
No,
Yeah.
no, it's okay. These glitches happen. Yeah. Please go on.
So, do I start from again? Because I have come halfway and I didn't realize that no one was able to hear me.
No. We were here. You were very clear
Oh,
earlier.
okay.
Just for that
Okay.
moment. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I will just mention that so what fascinates me of her feminism is that she has so many roles and she did it all together at the same time. And so what I like about her is that she exactly knew what to give priority to at the right time. Because that's how, like, I mean, she balanced her private and her public life quite well. And I really admire that. So I would like to give an instance that when Jamnalal Bajaj offered her the chief minister position, she had refused it because by that time of her life, she had given endless hours to the country and the cause, and she wanted to go back focusing on her expanding family. I also realized, reading Anusaya and me, is that many of the talents and interests I see in our family can be traced back to Anusaya and me. Can be traced back to Anusaya Bai. So, like for example, Biti Aji, who's my grandaunt and Anusaya Bai's granddaughter, she told me that that Anusaya Bai was a fantastic cook, and no wonder how a majority of family members are like good cooks or aspire to be one. Like as you have heard that she was a good singer, that and you can see that because many family members are either musically inclined or are developing their musical skills. And every time there is a family gathering, it turns out to be a musical affair because we all come together and we sing and we celebrate. Um And also, I would like to mention that I feel it's a matter of it's a great privilege for me to be born in a modern and a liberal family because all the ideologies and values and beliefs of Bai and Sahib can be traced down here. Like for one, am I audible?
You are.
Hello?
Yes, you are.
Please go on. You're perfect.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because Oh, okay. So I'll just give one last instance and then I'll stop with this chaos. Is that so Bittiaji had told me one story. She told me that when Bai had gone on a trip, she bought out saris for her daughter-in-laws and daughter. So, and Bittiaji told me that she treated her daughter-in-laws and daughter equally, like their own daughter. She didn't want any she didn't want to discriminate anyone or be partial to anyone. So she got saris and all, and young Bittiaji, she tells me that she didn't get any sari for her. So she expressed that feeling to her, and Bai immediately got up, went to the Birdi Bazaar in Nagpur and got her a sari. So there are many stories like these. Like I'm sorry, I can't, I can't express as many stories as possible. But there's so many stories like this in the book and what I've heard in the family, which gives me an insight on how Anusaya Bai was. Her family. Also, I would like to thank AIWC to give me their time and attention to to hear me out and for me being a part of this. I'm sorry if I have stumbled quite a bit. I'm very nervous.
No, you were
So, yeah,
amazing.
thank you.
Shivraji, you were amazing. And one of the best things because it was coming straight from the heart. We could see that and how you were so impressed by your Bai. And in spite of not having met her, not even seen her, all that, you are the great, great grandson. And how impressed you are, and how the feminism that you ooze, that is what is attractive to us in AIWC. Thank you so much. Thank you for your lovely insights into the life
Thank you.
and
It's a
the weight
pleasure.
of your Aji's legacy. Now we go to the next speaker is Mr. Vilas Kale. He is the grandson of Srimati Anusuya Bai Kale. He hails from Nagpur in Maharashtra and is from a business family which was socially and politically very active. He's done his master's in commerce and then joined the family automobile business in 1967. He's an entrepreneur who has helped set up several business houses and steered others, like so many big, businesses all over India and abroad. He has traveled extensively and has visited several countries, leading to the publication of your travelogues, which sounds so interesting. He's also the founder secretary of Vidarbha Economic Development Council and was its president, and has hobbies like traveling, painting, music, and performing arts. You, sir, you are going to tell us about Mr. Purushottam Kale's love and admiration for his wife, Anusuya Bai. So we're all ears.
Thank you so much, Sheila ji, and all of you members of AIWC. It's a pleasure to share about my grandparents. I was about 7 when Bai passed away, Aji. And I distinctly remember getting a nice thappad for her. And so, we were normally very scared of Aji. But the one man about whom I'm going to share with you is my grandfather, P.B. Kale. I've never seen a man so much in love with his wife. You've seen the photographs which PU presented, and you must have made out that he was a handsome man, a very handsome man, and Anusuya Bai was not particularly known for her looks. So this man was smitten by her in the first look that he had of her in Ferguson College. And of course, they got married and things like that. What I want to share with you is that they got married in 1916, and within a few months, Anusuya Bai had a major nervous breakdown and she needed treatment. And he stood like a rock, newly married, he stood like a rock behind her and saw to it that she was cured. And by 1919, he encouraged her to get into active social life as a social worker in Jamshedpur. After that, the family was growing, but Anusuya Bai's involvement in social life continued because of the encouragement of Sahib. And as you have heard that in 1930, after Anusuya Bai joined politics because of the decision that they took that who's going to join the freedom struggle, he stood by her like a rock and ensured that her financial securities were intact. Friends, it is amazing that this man who struggled hard in his business and built a decently good business, his first property that he bought was in the name of his wife. The house in Dantoli was in Anusuya Bai's name and not his own name. And she was the single owner of that house because that's the kind of care he had. P.B. Kale came from a background where his own mother, was widowed at a very early age. And he had seen that how a woman who's widowed at an early age is almost a maidservant in a joint family. Because she was not given any respect. She was made to do all the work and never respected. So he had grown with a very strong sense of feminism, in the sense that he respected women to such an extent and their economic independence that in his businesses, he made his daughters who got married and had moved out, them partners in his business, not only the daughters, but even all the 3 daughters-in-law. And they were all partners in that businesses of P.B. Kale. And Anusuya Bai, of course, had a very, what shall I say, a very envious position because she was the partner and owner of the properties. So this strong support came, and we cannot forget that Anusuya Bai was a very strong-headed lady. So one can imagine the amount of trouble that they must have had in adjusting with each other. But I think there was some common chord. One was this respect for feminism, and the other, of course, was mad love. I mean, there's no answer to that why did you love her so much? There cannot be anything, just the answer could be at the most, because I loved her. That's about it. But so much so that when my eldest cousin, Bitti, whom Shivraj was just mentioning, she was very unorganized as a college student. And she used to throw her saris around here and there. And grandfather would come And he would tidy them up and fold them and things like that, admiring, saying, "Aga bitti, tu agdi tuja aji sarki hai. You're exactly like your grandmother. She was also so gabali, so disorganized, and that too out of admiration." I mean, somebody would have got disgusted, but he had that kind of affection and love for her. Finally, when he wrote this book, Ansuyabai and me, I didn't realize, I was very young when it was released. I was just about 11, 12 years old. And I remember the publication, N.B. Gadgil had come, the ex-governor of Punjab. He was the chief guest, and a big function was held and all that. But when the second publication of that book happened, Najma Heptullah was the chief guest. And Najma ji in her speech said that I have in my public life so far not come across a single man who has written a book where he's praised his wife and has taken a secondary role. And this, he said, is amazing, and it shows the kind of love and respect this gentleman had for his wife. And Ansuyabai and Me is a book, it's presently in Marathi. We are trying to get an English translation. With the translation is already there. We are looking for a publisher. But if that comes out, it's something which every person must look at, that how a man, when he saw that his wife has certain talents, how he has encouraged her and has taken a secondary role in the life. So this must be, I personally feel, because there must have been something special in Ansuyabai. It cannot be just that. There must be something special in her which P.B. Kale only knows. We as grandchildren admire what our grandparents were and are very thankful for the legacy that they have left for us in business, in social life, in public life. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Namaste.
Thank you so much, sir. That was amazing to hear about all the love that a husband had for his wife. But I'm sure we know why he loved her so much, because we all love her. You know, she was such a personality, and not only because she was our president, the contributions in socio-political life at that time. You know, I've also heard that she saved the life of revolutionary men from hanging and all. You know, all that. You know, that inspires the others. And please don't forget, from the library request, we would love to have that book once it's published. Yeah. So please.
Sure.
Animi is one, I think, volume everyone should have, as you said, and we would love to have it with us. All the feminism that attracted P.V. Kale is, I'm sure, infective. It's gone down the generations. Thank you so much for being here. And now we move on to our next speaker for today. This is Mrs. Prajakta Kulkarni from AIWC Nagpur. She is the standing committee member of Purva Vidarbha Mahila Mandal. And I would request her to kindly come and give her presentation on Purva Vidarbha Mahila Mandal, which was founded by Anusuyabai herself. And I think the land was also given by her. You may throw some light on that. Prajakta ji, to you.
Thank you. Namaskar, everybody. First off, thank for Sheila ji and all of you for this opportunity. This is helping me push myself. We all are here to celebrate great Anusuyabai Kale through her personal and professional achievements. There are many incidents that tell us about the woman of substance and preservation that she was. Anusuyabai has many feathers to her cap, that of being a fearless freedom fighter, an upfront and working politician, selfless staunch social worker, empathetic leader, and a balanced team player. In 1927, when All India Women's Conference were found with the blessings of respectable Sarojini Naidu, a circular was received at the Nagpur Center which asked for names of candidates that would represent the center as delegates. So it was decided to send few names across. Is when Anusuyabai objected the decision and suggested they gave candidates to chance to contest elections, which would give a fair platform to whoever is deserving and the best may win. Such decisions and suggestions made by Anusuyabai show us that she was a woman who considered being fair and equality as virtuous. During her association and tenure with the Purva Vidarbha Mahila Parishad, she managed to earn the property land from Pandit Ravi Shankar Shukla. The building still stand tall and strong, depicting Anusuya Bai's selfless contribution. It's not just a building, but hard-earned reward where the generations women get together to live up to her name and constantly keep working for the greater good for the society. She had also convinced All India Women's Association to focus on women's political and economic issues, which till date is one of the issues Purva Vidarbha Mahila Parishad is working to achieve. So we, the branch of Nagpur, will always have a special mention and gratitude to her. To conclude, I would just say there can be only one Anusuya Bai, a soul with selfless approach, unstoppable achievements. But we all can definitely learn from her and wish we all can have at least 1% of what she was as a woman, politician, freedom fighter, social worker, progressive feminist. May we possesses a few, if not all, the extraordinary qualities that she had: empathy, conviction, strong ideologies, equal rights, importance of education, honesty, fearlessness in upfront attitude, strong will, determination, persistence, hoping for the best, and kudos to us women army. मी एवढंच म्हणेन की मरावे परी कीर्तिरूप उरावे हे वचन त्यांच्या बाबतीत खरे ठरले. थँक्यू व्हेरी मच.
Thank you, Prajakta ji. Thank you. Can you translate the last line for us? जो आपने अंत में कहा उसका बताते हैं हिंदी में.
मराठी
हाँ.
मरावे परी कीर्तिरूप उरावे हे वचन त्यांच्या बाबतीत खरे ठरले.
तो हमें
Can I volunteer? I'll volunteer. It means leave footprints on the sands of time. Leave behind you footprints on the sands of time.
Wow.
Thank you.
That's the motto, I'm sure, with which Srimati Anusuya Bai worked, and which we have inherited, and we are trying to do our best. As Prajakta ji said, आप लोग वहाँ भी नागपुर में भी ये कर रहे हो, तो हम लोग भी यहाँ उसकी कोशिश कर रहे हैं. Now we go. Thank you, Prajakta ji. That was so good to hear her contribution.
Thank you. Welcome.
We move on to the next speaker. Our next speaker is Mrs. Anasuya Chabrani. She's the great granddaughter of Anusuya Bai ji. She's going to talk about Anusuya Bai Kale, and the title of her talk is A Woman of Substance. I invite you, Mrs. Anasuya Kane Chabrani ji.
Thank you, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. A very good afternoon to everybody. And on behalf of the Kale family, I would first like to thank AIWC for giving us this opportunity. I was given this responsibility just 3 days back. And when Piyate called me at 10 in the night, I have been engrossed in all my campaigns. Doing justice to her life or her work, I don't think is possible in a presentation, but I have tried my level best, thanks to my uncle, who is also my guide, my teacher. And even I'm not a very good orator, but I will try. Today, I think all of you got to know that the legacy that we've got, the drama, the commitment, the stubbornness, everything comes from Anusuya Bai Kale. So we Kales are actually blessed. And I'm a lot like her, if I may say so. And when I went through the book again the last 3 days, there are so many qualities which I could relate to. So I would like to begin with, say, her life. Her first step, I will just give me a minute, please. Share.
सुनाई नहीं देता है सुप्रिया जी, युतिका जी।
I think उनका connection हो रहा है. Is she trying for a presentation?
Doesn't seem to be stable.
She's got a PPT which she's going to be
Can you-
presenting. So I think she's trying to
Yeah.
share.
Yeah, she is going to present a PPT.
थोड़ा सा wait करते हैं, उनको time दे देते हैं.
हाँ हाँ, मेरी आवाज आ रही है आपको युतिका?
हाँ, you are clear. Yeah.
ओके,
वैसे तो उनको co-host बनाया हुआ है ना?
हाँ, वो खुद प्रेजेंट करेगी.
It's a good thing we'll get connected through this medium.
Yeah. I'm extremely sorry. There was some internet connection
Yeah,
problem.
it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah,
Now
I'm
it's-
really sorry.
It's clear now. We
True.
can
Yeah.
we can see them. You can do the slideshow.
Yeah. Next.
Yeah.
Yes. Extremely sorry for the.
Share
Yes.
this-
So her first step
share the
was in.
screen.
Yeah, her first step into social life was in July 1919. Is the screen visible to everybody? And
Yes.
my voice is also audible, ma'am?
Yes, both. Perfect.
Okay. Yes. So her first step,
No.
July 1919. Yes, ma'am? Very
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. She began with teaching at a school for the tribal children, as mentioned by Piyuatya. She joined the Bhagani Mandal in 1922, which was a social club where there was a library wherein topics of child marriage, girls' education, widow remarriage, etc. were taken in. So here she was quite vocal and she really enjoyed where after she joined the Bhagani Mandal. Some classes were there to teach the needy women skills for home product manufacturing. With this, a new world opened to Anasuya Bai. In 1927, with the blessings of Sarojini Naidu, under the leadership of cousins and Kamala Devi Chattopadhyay, the AIWC was formed. 4 women were to represent the Delhi conference, and her name was proposed as the government's representative. Even though till 1927, politics and becoming a freedom fighter was not on her agenda, but was always taking part in social projects that supported the cause of women and children, like mentioned in the presentation by Piyuatya. She was nominated to the Central Province's Legislative Council on the 8th of March 1928. She was welcomed by the members of the assembly when she took her oath. She was quite a popular woman because she was quite vocal and she was a good orator. The first lady legislator of the province, which was a proud moment and a huge achievement. Actively involved in labor reforms, she was the assistant commissioner of the Whitley Commission and the member of the ILO Geneva. She also organized the All India Women's Conference, later also took charge and organized the conference at Bhagani Mandal, Nagpur. Since she had been participating in the movement for women laborers at the Bhagani Mandal, she began propagating for family planning. Here I would like to mention that she went against Gandhiji's idea of family planning, criticizing it as being most impractical, which was a very big thing even at that time, where she did not stop to openly express her thoughts, for which she was criticized by many. She toured, took the members to see the laborers' plight, and because of her work with the commission, she was nominated to the International Labour Organization, which she represented for many years. Even for those times, some major changes she proposed were improvement for women's education, women's dispensaries, got those bills passed as a secondary to the Sharda Bill. She proposed raising the marriageable age to 14 for girls and 18 for boys, and that bill also she got passed. Voting against the government for high school education demanded employment for female teachers for women prisoners. Proposal was accepted immediately. In 1930, the famous Salt Satyagraha. We all know of the Gandhiji's call, and like they wanted one member from every family, Anasuya Bai resigned from the council and joined the freedom struggle. She also went around talking to people then, telling all about the Satyagraha. Since she was a very good orator, she convinced people. She was also referred to as the Rani of Jhansi. Village poets wrote dohas with her name. Here it needs to be mentioned that a husband who wanted to join the freedom struggle, but being the head of the family, the onus, that is the power of the family, of keeping the kitchen fires burning was on him. And so the choice was made, and Anusaya Bai joined the freedom struggle. She became the president of the city Congress. She was jailed several times. Next. Toured with Mahatma Gandhi in 1933 in his All India Harijan tour. Even then, she never believed in untouchability. She got an opportunity to work with them with Gandhiji. In 1935, she became the Congress President Nagar Congress Committee. Before I go ahead, I would like to mention this was her 61st birthday and inaugurating the Bhagini Mandal building. I'm sorry I have been able to put this here because, like I said, just a day that I got to put up this presentation. So please excuse me. Okay, so here it is in 1933 that she became the president of the City Congress, which I said jailed several times. President Committee 1935. In 1936, she was elected to the Madhya Pradesh Legislative Assembly and was appointed the Deputy Speaker. Appointed President of the Capital Punishment Relief Society by Lord Linlithgow on the Viceroy's Council in 1943. Saved several people sentenced to death in Ashti and Chimor in the 1942 riots. In fact, with her commitment and efforts, she was successful in helping 7 more accused prisoners from being executed. In 1947, President All India Women's Conference. In her acceptance speech itself, she stretched for 2 points. Family planning, separate ministry for social affairs. Her belief even then was that the greatest threat to India, united India, was division of caste, creed, and religion. 1948, she visited Lahore for on-the-spot study of the condition of destitute women affected by the partition. She had to leave the mission halfway, though, because Pakistani soldiers did not make it easy to meet with the women. Her commitment was so true that even when she did not get the ticket, yet she campaigned for the local candidates, a commitment which we do not see today. High Command gave a nod again in 1952. She was elected as MP from the Nagpur County to the first Lok Sabha, was given charge of the women's welfare. 1952, she went as a delegate of the country with Lal Bahadur Shastri Ji to the Commonwealth Parliament Conference at Canada. Here too, she received accolades and impressed people. You can see these 2 photographs, Anusaya Bai with the 2nd President of India and Anusaya Bai with Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. 57, elected MP to 2nd Lok Sabha from Nagpur County. A special mention here would be that she refused the post of Chief Minister that had been offered to her. Yet, she fulfilled all her commitments. It is an honor, actually, for me to present her work. Really proud of the inheritance and name given to me by my grandfathers. I would like to say that Nagpur and the party have not given this illustrious personality her due, even till today. Would really want everyone to read the book Anusaya Bai and Me, to know all about her contribution as a woman leader in those times. Vocal, a woman of substance, never ever stopped from saying exactly what she had in mind, a visionary even then in those times. 12th August 1958, she breathed her last at Bangalore. The landmarks in Nagpur for which Anusaya Bai contributed her efforts substantially. Okay, all these are the ones that Piyut has already shown. So the Ashti Chimor, her letter, her handwriting, the letter written to her by Mahatma Gandhi. There were news articles regarding her. Before I just end it, Anusaya Bai Kale was the first and the only MP till today from Nagpur constituency. Anusaya Bai के बाद कोई भी महिला नागपुर में कभी भी सांसद नहीं बनी. अभी हम लोग 2020 में वुमेन्स इक्वालिटी की बात करते हैं. We are talking of way ahead. But yet, even today, there is no woman representative in the constituency. When I spoke of landmark buildings, the land and building of Gina Mandal, North Ambazari Road, the Dr. Dalvi Hospital, Garuba Maidan, Purva Vidarbha Mahila Parishad, North Ambazari Road, which is the hostel which she started for women and which is going to be renovated very soon, where a lot of activities and a lot of things for the underprivileged have been going on. We have a wonderful team from Nagpur who heads it every 1 year or 2 years. I'm sorry I've not been very involved because of my own commitments, but in the coming time, yes, if I'm given a chance, I would like to contribute. These are the Anusyabai Kale Smriti Samudesh Kendra run by the Nagpur Municipal Corporation. The Social Welfare Department runs these in all the 10 zones of the Nagpur Municipal Corporations. A very big mention here that I would like to make is that Nagpur Municipal Corporation almost spends 30 lakhs per year for these centers, and we have these in all the 10 zones. Till a year back, they were attached to all the police stations of Nagpur also, wherein we were doing very well. And like I have discussed with Vilas Uncle, we would like to contribute in many ways in the coming times because of the hardship that these ladies have been facing in terms of running these centers. Nagpur has given a press article on the death of Anusyabai Kale, a Shraddhanjali, which we say. But like I said, her work, the lady that she was, the great visionary, cannot be put into a presentation. Her life, you can only understand if you read her book. Anusyabai and Me is a mirror into all that she was. A human being par excellence, a woman with guts even in those times, someone who spoke her mind, who has worked with the greatest of leaders, a little of which we have in our legacy today. If we can do even 1/10 of what she did, we'll really feel honored. I don't know if I've been able to give justice or I've really been able to present a lot, but the last verse I would like to end with is that she was the first woman to break the social barriers by sitting alongside men when watching plays. Women were generally delegated to the backbenches, a stand she refused to follow. She firmly believed that families should be restricted if women were to become strong. This really irked the then Congress and was the major reason why she was also sidetracked. She was actually sidetracked and she was out of political life for almost 10 years, I think. She was also then sent to Karnataka after riots and rapes were reported, and her presence was a great solace to the victims there. So a champion for women empowerment, a champion for social awareness, a champion of many causes. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about my great-grandmother. And I am Anusya, yes, but I just hope I am able to do as much as what she did. I think my family should be a little wanting, really proud of me or not, I don't know. But I have really tried my level best to put this in a day's time. I'm extremely sorry if I faltered anywhere. I'm extremely sorry if I have not been able to do justice to this presentation. But thank you, AIWC. Thank you on behalf of the Kale family.
Thank you so much, Anusuya ji. Thank you. You don't just share her name. I think you share everything that she had, her demeanor, her way of speaking. I think we can make out you are carrying the legacy forward. Everyone is proud of you. And we at AIWC also, not just your family. You did it in such a short time. Told us about the political life, which I was missing. I wanted to know more, and I'm sure all the audience here, because we know about her work at AIWC and how in politics she, as you remarked in the end, the first and only legislator from Nagpur is rather sad. Why don't you carry that forward? That's a request from our side. I hope.
Ma'am, I decided 3 years back that yes, I wanted to get into politics 3 years back.
Wow.
But still, even today, women are not allowed to speak their mind. And like yeah, I've tried with many parties, but I'm very happy as a social activist because I'm able to do much more. And like I said, under the guidance of my entire family, who are contributing to my works and my thoughts enriching me with a lot which they have experienced. And Vilas uncle, Pivatya, Shivraj, who have been such good guides. And, listening to all that I have to say, my mother, my brother, and most important, my husband, who is supporting me. So, like I said, a lot in common, a long way to go, but maybe. But my goal is, yes, if I come into politics, it will only be as member of parliament. Otherwise, no.
Yeah, perfect. All
All the
our
best.
best wishes.
All
Yeah.
the best.
Sheila ji.
Thank you.
Best
I mean,
wishes.
we are looking forward to the day when you will be in the parliament. And
But first,
Thank
come
you.
to AIWC.
yeah,
I would love to join. Yes, I
Yeah.
would love to make a difference, and I would love to join AIWC.
we would love to have you. लगेगा जैसे अनुसुईया बाई जी आ गई हमारे बीच में, है ना? कितना अच्छा लगेगा.
Thank you so much.
Great. And all the whole family, we are so grateful for your input, and it looks like you have recreated the great president for us, our past president. And we don't have words to thank you. We'll have a formal vote of thanks in the end. But so thank you, everyone. Let's move on to the next president because
I just wanted to add that you said that for recreating Anusuya Bai for all of you,
yeah,
even for a lot of the members of the family.
true.
This
true.
opportunity has, given us a chance to get to know our grandmother or great grandmother or whatever
Yeah.
the relationship
And
was. So
incidentally,
thank you.
Priyambata, that's what we've heard from most of the relatives of those who have been coming. उनको भी बड़ा अच्छा लगता है. हमें तो लगता ही है, हमें तो ये चाहिए ही. We are pining for this. But I'm sure all of you would be enjoying this ride, yeah. Thanks to our president Sheila ji. है ना, उनका idea है Sheila ji. That's such a historic moment. Okay, so let's proceed with the program. And we have another very impressive personality was the next president, the 21st president, Srimati Urmila Ben Mehta. She was the president in 1949. And another Gandhian social reformer and well-educated person who took interest in all the reforming activities and was highly educated and was very deeply involved in all the work of the AIWC, as well as at the national level in the freedom struggle. And as you all also have noticed that the family is behind, when one person moves ahead, the family has to do the backing. और जैसे कि हमने अनुसुईया जी के केस में देखा, यहाँ भी ऐसा ही कुछ है. So we are going to hear more about our 21st president, Srimati Urmila Ben Mehta. And I would invite Mrs. Shivani Mehta from AIWC Gujarat. Mrs. Shivani ji is the ex-Secretary General of AIWC and ex-member trustee of AIWC. Is a very senior member of AIWC. Is from the Ahmedabad Maninagar branch of AIWC. And she's going to talk about the life journey of Mrs. Urmila Bhaskar Mehta. Shivani ji, आप यहाँ हैं क्या? Shivani ji, I can see. Yeah. आप आए और अपना presentation दें. आप अपना वीडियो खोलेंगे? वीडियो
ओके आ गया विश्रुत
अब-
भाई
नहीं
आपका वीडियो नहीं दिख
अभी
रहा.
नहीं आया
नहीं, फोटो नहीं
नहीं
दिख
आया
विश्रुत वीडियो નથી આવતો યાર.
See, we're all negotiating with this also. This pandemic has made us also techno-friendly.
आना
हम
जरा.
सब टेक्नोलॉजी जानने लगे. Yeah.
मैम
हाँ,
टेक्नो savvy तो हो गए, लेकिन लास्ट मिनट पे धोखा दे देता है नेट हर बार.
वो इंसान भी देता
Can
है.
you see me now?
हाँ शिवानी जी, हम सब देख
yes
सकते हैं.
yes we can
ठीक है.
आइए, आप बताइए.
Namaste to everybody and all of Kale's relatives. We are happy to see and hear about her that we do not know at all before. But it is good that now we can get her. Now, बका फरी जतु रहे छे मारो फोटो.
आ गया एकदम से मालूम
First-
नहीं पड़ा मुझे. शिवानी का शेयर करने का है. It is here only.
Hello. First of all, विश्वत मारो फोटो जतो रहे छे.
Back to meeting कर सकते हैं. Written thing.
First of all, I want to give you the glimpse of the status of women. Can you hear?
हाँ जी हाँ, आपकी आवाज
Can you
Yes,
आ
yeah,
रही है,
yeah,
आवाज आ
yeah,
रही
we can hear.
hear? First of all, I want to give you the glimpse of the status of women before 100 years. Before 100 years, women were considered inferior to men except in very few advanced families and royal families. The literacy rate was only 2%. Child marriage, sati pratha, polygamy, repeated pregnancies, malnutrition, ill health, and early death were very common. But nowadays, the scenario is totally changed. We can study whatever we want. Of course, we have to keep up to the mark. We can go wherever we want. In every walk of life, there are women, even on the top cadre. This is the result of the continuous, untiring efforts of our solvent leaders. Now we are enjoying it. Next, Mrs. Urmilaben Mehta.
शिवानी जी,
Mrs. Urmilaben.
हमारा
हाँ जी,
पीपीटी अभी शुरू हो रहा है, 1 मिनट।
हाँ अभी शुरू होता है, वो पहले मेरा ऐसे ही था इंट्रोडक्शन।
ओके ओके,
इंट्रोडक्शन राइट। सीधू आवाज
शिवानी बहन बराबर है क्या, देखिए ना जरा।
नहीं, आपका अब तो बीच में से हारमोनी आ गया, वो 8th और 9th स्लाइड है। पहला इंट्रोडक्शन, फर्स्ट स्लाइड एंड जर्नी। इससे आगे ये कम्युनल हार्मनी तो वेरी लेट है, 11वीं स्लाइड है। इट इज द 11th slide, communal harmony. First is introduction, second is introduction, and third is life journey. Third is life journey of Urmilaben. Got it? Sheila ji, have you got it?
वो कर रही हैं ट्राई।
लाइफ जर्नी
जी हाँ, वो ट्राई कर रही
Yeah.
हैं। 2 मिनट हम वेट
मैं चलने मैं आगे चलूं?
आपका साथ चलेगा तो अच्छा होगा। ये बीच में है शीला जी।
ये तो 11वीं स्लाइड है, विमेन्स राइट है, वो 12वीं स्लाइड है, नोबल वर्क्स 10वीं स्लाइड है। हाँ ये अभी आ रहा है, उर्मिला मेहता राइट। इंट्रोडक्शन हो गया, लाइफ जर्नी फ्रॉम नाउ वी आर गोइंग, फ्रॉम नाउ यस लाइफ जर्नी वाज देयर।
पीछे चले। हाँ
लीना विश्रुत, लाइफ जर्नी वाज देयर। Life journey was there.
यहाँ से शुरू करें, ठीक है शिवानी जी, इसको शुरू करेंगे।
हाँ अभी मेरे में से चला गया, आपके ये मेरे में नहीं आ रही है। इससे पहले एक आगे, इससे आगे की स्लाइड है लाइफ जर्नी। लाइफ जर्नी यस, फ्रॉम नाउ लेट अस स्टार्ट। हेलो, लाइफ जर्नी ऑफ उर्मिलाबेन।
आप बताइए। हाँ बताइए।
Mrs. Urmilaben Mehta was born in conservative Desai family, which is by caste Brahma Kshatriya. Her family held Indian cultural values with very high regards. Mrs. Mehta had a deep family background. 1 minute, you stop here with
Please,
ugly
અવાજ
life.
નથી આવતો.
વિશ્રુત પાછો અવાજ જતો રહે છે. અવાજ જતો રહે છે. અવાજ નથી આવતો ત્યાં.
બોલો.
मेरा तो म्यूट ही है, अनम्यूट हो गया है. हेलो.
બરોબર છે, બોલતા રહો તમે.
નથી
हाँ ठीक है, आवाज आ रही
बोलता थी
है
એટલે.
शिवानी जी, आवाज आ रही है आपकी.
Mrs. Mehta had a deep family background, conservative of consisting of many academicians. One of them was known as Panditji. Her brother, local community. Her brother, Shri S.V. Desai, was a principal of H.A. Commerce College, Ahmedabad. He too was an outspoken man, having high and deep cultural and social values of our nation. Now it is early life. Here this is the second one, but again I am telling. Her education had started in Mahalakshmi Training College of Ahmedabad, where she was one of the scholar students. Soon after, her family moved to Bombay, wherein she was admitted in Elphinstone College. Urmilaben Mehta also studied domestic science at the King's College, London. Srimati Urmilaben there caused a mass upheaval in her strict and conservative community. From her early age, she was highly influenced by the Gandhian thought, and she was an active participant of the welfare activities for the downtrodden. Next, जो बका जतो रह्यो है. Marriage and married life, right. Mrs. Urmila Mrs. Urmilaben married to Bhaskar Bhai Batukbhai Mehta in the year 1921. In the year 1921, Bhaskar Bhai Mehta was the brother-in-law of Shardaben Mehta, who was sister of Srimati Vidya Gauri Nilkanth, who was past president of AIWC. The marriage between the both was an intercaste marriage which had caused an uproar in both their communities, as one belonged to the Brahmakshatriya community and the other one belonged to the Nagar community. Out of this marriage, two children had born in the year 1922 and 1924, Nirupama and Atul respectively. Next. Social work. Mrs. Mehta was highly involved in the Swadeshi movement as well as the freedom movement. During the course of her participation in this struggle of Indian independence, she had to go to jail twice, 1930, 1934. While in Bombay, she was an active member. During the Bengal famine, she worked intensively in securing relief work in Bengal in the year 1943. Notably, she was also the principal in Barton Women's College, Rajkot. Next. Urmilaben and AIWC. Next. At the regional level, Srimati Urmilaben Mehta had been the secretary in 1940-43 and president in 1946-47 in AIWC Mumbai branch. At the national level, she was the Secretary General 1941 and President 1949 to 1951. Her niece, Pushpaben Mehta, was a Secretary General AIWC in the year 1956 and 1958, when Srimati Lakshmi Menon was the president of AIWC. She was also president of Vallabh Vidyanagar Constituent Branch in Gujarat Main Branch in 1970. The current AIWC head office, 6 Bhagwandas Road, was purchased by them in her tenure from the government at the cost of rupees 5,550,000 only. And the plot is of 14,400. Urmilaben Mehta, next. Next. She was a person who followed the motto of simple living and higher thinking. She was an humble, knowledgeable, straightforward woman without hypocrisy, pride, and pomp. Such great soul left us on 4th November 1956 for the heavenly abode while attending a meeting in Delhi called by Srimati Durgabai Deshmukh. Next. Next. Next, communal harmony. Right. Her tenure as the president was during the time of independence, partition of India. Therefore, her prime focus of work was on communal harmony. In her speech, she once said that the communal harmony would not be achieved by legislation alone. AIWC members must initiate campaigns for communal harmony, keeping in mind the noble principles of the Constitution, ensuring equality and freedom for every citizen. Next. Next. Women's rights. Women's rights has been an initial element in AIWC activities. Being the cornerstone of the AIWC activities, Srimati Mehta was very much proactive in advocating women's rights. In one of her speeches, she quoted that AIWC must organize centers for women where women trained and educated in their rights and responsibilities in preventing the social evils and building the character of children who are future citizens. They must be made aware of health, hygiene, nutrition, and sanitation. Next. Women's education. She was an ardent supporter of the mandate of education of women. Srimati Mehta, herself being an academician, urged the members of AIWC to have yearly targets for themselves for the number of women they wish to literate every year. While speaking on women's education, she once said that adult franchisee has no meaning without enabling our people to know their rights and responsibilities. AIWC should undertake this nationwide, assist government and social organizations by a network of literacy classes for women in their own locality. Next. Common Civil Code. Common Civil Code. Common Civil Code. Right? Right? Common Civil Code.
Yes, please go on.
According to Srimati Mehta's knowledge on several subjects can be reflected in suggestions and actions took by her upon various occasions. According to her, AIWC have a historic opportunity to create a favorable atmosphere for acceptance of the code because Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Gujarati, Marathi, Malayali, Tamil of all the caste and community were sitting and sharing one stage under the umbrella of AIWC. Next. Urmilaben had the children and children's welfare closest to her heart. Post the Second World War, as the secretary of Bombay branch, as well as the AIWC also, she was the Secretary General in 1941. She played a vital role in initiating of child care centers. Such centers were initiated for the purpose of saving children in war and disaster area. She had also set up nursery schools for young children, wherein children were getting relief, education and training of various forms. Quite notably, in Gwalior Conference, 1949, she made an fervent appeal for nationwide campaign for collection of ₹1 per head to help run the centers for child care and education in disaster hit area managed by AIWC. Next, socio-economic development. Srimati Urmilaben suggested several agrarian reforms like introducing scientific agriculture, development of small and cottage industries, etc., while keeping women at the foremost participation. Her words are quite noteworthy. AIWC notes with serious apprehension the growing deterioration in the general economy of country marked by a scarcity of essential commodities and rising prices with which incomes are not keeping pace. Her remark on socio-economic development where the exploitation of man by man will not cease unless peaceful, determined efforts are made to achieve the goal. Ultimately, political freedom depended on both economic and social reforms. One more thing I want to quote is, there is not in this slide, a great change has come over the world. The mankind has begun to realize the necessity of a fair distribution of wealth in order to avoid basic causes of conflict and tension in the world. AIWC have to put together all its resources and energies, support the national government, bring together labor and peasant organizations, as well as the industrial community and labor to fight inflation and economic crisis. Discipline. Next. She was known to be a strict disciplinarian. This aspect is brought out in her reference to the need of discipline and code of conduct for the members of AIWC. Some of her suggestions are as follows. Strict rules for enrolling members after scrutiny of applications. Members to work regularly in organized manner according to plan of action and targets. A committee to be appointed for preparing compulsory constructive schedule of work for each department, binding on all members. Next. Hello. As one more thing I want to add her, that in 1949, at the end of the first presidential report, she said that as one who has been soldier all her life, I can give you no inspiring message. It is not for me to utter words of profound wisdom, which you have heard so often in the past. But as a worker, I once more pledge to be with you in the fight against ignorance and illiteracy, the fight against poverty and disease, the fight against tyranny and injustice, the fight to create a better and brighter world out of the ruins of old. This shows her character as well as the plan of work, what she want to do in her tenure. उनके बारे में मैं ये बोलूंगी कि वो न तो प्राचीन थी न तो अर्वाचीन, लेकिन दोनों के संगम स्थान पर खड़ी एक तटस्थ दीर्घदर्शी विचारशील महिला थी, जो प्राचीन और अर्वाचीन दोनों सभ्यता की अच्छाइयों को समझदारी के साथ स्वीकारती थी. She was coming from advanced family who opposed Ghungat Pratha. Ghungat means to cover the head in a manner that no one can see the face. Yet she was not shy to cover her head. She was covering in her head in such a way that all can see her face. Lots of uproar and oppose were expected, and yet she went abroad for study, and she did intercaste marriage. Urmilaben was a shining star of AIWC. She was a shining star of AIWC. She was a shining star of AIWC, which brought joy into the lives of countless women and children. उस उन्नत आत्मा को मेरा शत शत प्रणाम. Slide. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Next.
Shivani.
Next, for an organization, 25 years means one generation. I am proud to say that even after 4 generations, we can maintain the name and fame, the spirit and status of AIWC at national and international level. Credit goes to central leadership as well as the leaders and workers of main and constituent branches. My special thanks to my Thileji, who provided me this matter, which was given to her by me before 10 years. Special thanks for Bhavnaji for this PowerPoint, preparing this PPT. And thanks to Supriya ji and Yuthika ji, who nicely handled the program. Last but not least, thank you Sheila ji, Pujit ji, Rehana ji, and the team for the idea of focusing on those pillars of AIWC who provided us the strong and sound platform to work. Thank you. Namaste. Thank you very much to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Shivani. Thank you so much. इतना सारा बातें आपने बताई उनके बारे में, उनके हर एक एस्पेक्ट के बारे में. श्रीमती उर्मिलाबेन मेहता हमारी 21st प्रेसिडेंट थी. लेकिन एक चीज और दिख रही है कि कैसे समाज बदल गया था उस समय. जो प्री इंडिपेंडेंस था और जो पोस्ट अलग प्रॉब्लम्स था, समस्याएं अलग आ गई थी, है ना. अलग तरह के कम्युनल हार्मनी की बात हो रही है, एजुकेशन लिटरेसी पर फोकस है, सिविल कोड की बात है, इन्फ्लेशन, इकोनॉमिक क्राइसिस, फूड शॉर्टेज, ये सब एक नए आयाम से AIWC के सामने आ गया. तो और सब कार्यकर्ता उस पर लगे. और जो सबसे अच्छी बात लगी, शी कंसिडर्ड हरसेल्फ अ वर्कर लाइक अदर्स, यू नो, एंड सेड आई एम नॉट हियर टू सर्मनाइज, मैं आप लोग के साथ काम करने आई हूँ. दैट वाज सच अ ग्रेट थिंग टू से. Combination of ancient and modern, and despite from a conservative background, she could surmount all that and went ahead with this. This was an amazing personality again. So we come to the end of the program. Someone, I mean, I'm sure there are members who would like to share their thoughts or ideas or incidents. कोई अगर कुछ बोलना चाहेगा खत्म करने के पहले, अगर हम प्रोग्राम समाप्ति पर है, और अगर कोई किसी के कोई आइडियाज हैं या कोई मेमोरीज भी हैं, वो शेयर कर सकते हैं. There are so many.
It was before years, so nobody has the ideas. One more thing I would like to add, Yuthika ji, that formerly before 10 years, her granddaughter was here in Ahmedabad, in Bombay, and her auntie Pushpaben Mehta our Secretary General, was also here in Ahmedabad. So I can collect all these details from her granddaughter, Urmila Ben's granddaughter, Nandini Jhaveri. She is in Bombay now, but I cannot contact her because the link between us, that Pushpa Ben Mehta, she is no more in this world now. All her children were living abroad, and Urmila Ben's son is there, Atul. From very beginning he is settled abroad. So nobody is in touch. We have tried to find out in all the ways, but we cannot get anybody nearby.
उनकी ग्रैंडडॉटर से अगर आप कनेक्ट कर सकेंगे तो हमें बताइएगा, फिर हम
नहीं हो सकता. We have tried for 4-5 sites, but we cannot get, because in this Bombay we do not know that is Nandita Jhaveri. Only the name is there.
Okay.
I don't know. Pushpa Ben's kaki auntie was Urmila Ben. So she can give me at that time. She has given, Nandita has given all these details. I have given it to Maithili. She has written when she was member in Char Roshni. She has written an article in Roshni. But before 10 years, now I have got nothing, but she has provided me. That the things you have given in the article is there, and first lectures are there of all the presidents. तो इसीलिए कुछ ऐसा मिल सका.
नहीं, but I'm sure someday. Thank you so much, शिवानी जी. बहुत अच्छे से आपने कंपाइल करके बताया. तो और शीला जी, shall we close the program? We are towards the end.
Yeah, we are towards the end.
Mathili, yeah, sure. Please, go ahead.
Well, thank you, Shivani ji. It was a pleasure to help you. क्योंकि अब जब हमको इन्फॉर्मेशन चाहिए था, आप हमेशा प्रोवाइड करते थे, और आपकी मेमोरी इतनी अच्छी है कि बार बार रोशनी के जो पब्लिश करते थे आपको रेफर करके तभी हम लिखते थे उसमें. थैंक यू. थैंक्स फॉर द वंडरफुल टॉक.
थैंक यू मैथिली.
It is a pleasure.
थैंक यू शिवानी जी. अब मैं फॉर्मल वोट ऑफ थैंक्स के लिए, वी आर एट द एंड ऑफ द प्रोग्राम, एंड मैं फॉर्मल वोट ऑफ थैंक्स के लिए अपनी जॉइंट सेक्रेटरी AIWC मिसेस सुप्रिया भालेराव को बुलाना चाहूंगी. सुप्रिया जी, if you're there. And for everyone's information, the beautiful invite, the flyer that you see of the program is designed by her. She's always done this. She's a designer, a writer, all in one, and the joint secretary AIWC. Supriya, vote of thanks on you.
Thank you, Yutika. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. So this is Supriya Bhalerao, Joint Secretary of AIWC, delivering the formal vote of thanks in this session. As usual, firstly, I thank Mrs. Sheila Kakade, our present president, for starting this superb webinar series on our past presidents to learn about these great personalities and get inspired. This is the 14th session presenting our 20th and 21st presidents of AIWC, but in the post-independence period. I thank Mrs. Kuljit Kaur, our Secretary General, and Mrs. Rehana Begum, our Treasurer, for their unconditional support to the extremely interesting and valuable series of this webinars. Now I would like to thank our guest speakers of today's webinar. Firstly, Mrs. Priyamvada Chadha, an architect from Noida, who is the granddaughter of our 20th President, Mrs. Anusuya Bai Kale, and has presented really an excellent PPT. I thank her for all that research she had done on her grandmother, about whom Priyamvada had mentioned that very little was known by the family about Anusuya Bai ji because she passed away early in life. And all the speakers today from Anusuya Bai's family, fifth generation, also is there with us today. I thank all of them, and they all have been very enthusiastic in inventing about our past president and proudly presenting their life to our members. Priyamvada, you are very special to us as you have been involved in other things of AIWC, like working on our buildings of our Delhi office. Thank you. I thank Mr. Shivraj Kale for expressing his admiration for his great grandmother's life and the influence of hers on his own life. That was really sweet of you, Shivraj, for being with us today, and glad to know that you are a feminist. I thank the next speaker, Mr. Vilas Kale, for giving that exciting account of Anusuya Bai's and her husband Sahib's family life. That was really interesting. Now one feels like reading that book, and then we would love to have it in our library at AIWC. I thank another Anusuya from the Kale family to give us that account of a respected past president's political life in a superb presentation. Thank you, Anusuya Kale Chabrani, for that, and all the best wishes for your upcoming political career. Be a member, as Yutika said to you. I thank Mrs. Prajakta Kulkarni, our standing committee member of AIWC and secretary of Purva Vidarbha Mahila Mandal, founded by our past president, Mrs. Anusuya Bai. Thank you for the short and sweet speech. Congratulations, Prajakta ji. I thank Mrs. Shivani Mehta, our senior member who was our ex-secretary general and ex-member trustee. She has given us that excellent presentation on Mrs. Urmila Mehta, our 21st president, who belonged to Gujarat. Unfortunately, there wasn't much information found on this president of ours, but with the help of Shivani ji and also Bhavna ji, our one of the national presidents, we've been able to get this presentation. Thank you very much, Shivani ji, Bhavna ji, and also Maithili ji, whose article was of great use, as a resource for this presentation. I now thank our patrons, Mrs. Beena Jain and Mrs. Veena Kohli, for being present at this and all other webinars, which is really a mark of encouragement to this series. Thank you both, ma'ams. I thank all the vice presidents present here today for being with us, also zonal organizers and members in charge for attending this session. I thank all the guests and all of you to be here today. Without you, this session is not complete. Last but not the least, our own Dr. Yutika, member in charge of MCM Library, for being a great host. Thank you, Yutika.
Thank you, Supriya. Thank you so much for your vote of thanks. Thank you. So we take leave and end this program with the note.
1 minute.
And Yutika, please wish Happy Diwali to everyone on behalf of AIWC.
A very happy Diwali to everyone. Enjoy this festival season along with Diwali. There's so many other festivals, Bhai Dooj, Chhat, everything is coming. Yeah, Rehana ji, I know you are
Happy Diwali.
Yeah, so we meet again.
Happy Diwali to all of you.
We
And
meet
one
again.
little change that I am Miss Shivani, not Mrs. Please make a little change that I am Miss Shivani, not Mrs.
Noted.
My apologies. Okay.
हाँ, नहीं, हमने note किया शिवानी जी. Well said. That's a good input. And we meet again on the 12th of the next month, 12th November, after Diwali. Meantime, enjoy Diwali and have a great festivities. Bye-bye to everyone. See you on
And very, very happy Diwali to everyone. Happy Diwali.
Thank you, Kuljit ji.
Thank you,
Wishing you happy
Supriya.
Diwali to you too.
Okay,
Thank
see
you to
Bye,
AIWC. Thank you, Sheila ji. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And wish everyone a very happy Diwali and seasonal greetings.
Yes, happy Diwali to you. And Vilas
you.
and Shivraj are there.
I think so, yes. I don't know. I think Shivraj must be there. Yes. Okay. I don't know.
Thank you, Sheila ji. Thank you, Supriya ji, Yutika ji, and everyone else.
Thank you.
Very, very happy Diwali to all of you. Thank you so much. And
you.
Fiyu ji, hello. I couldn't say hello to you.
Hello,
So busy in giving the presentation. Such a wonderful presentation you have given.
It was.
And thank you so much. Very, very happy Diwali. Thank you so much. Thank you. I mean, You know,
Happy
to be
Diwali
new-
to everyone.
Happy Diwali, Prajakta ji. Thank you.
Ma'am, if I have your permission, can I leave?
Yes,
we are
yes.
ending the program.
But we'll meet.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much. And I will
And
definitely
Surya,
join the
I
IWC.
wish you a very, very happy future. And
Thank
see
you.
you as Member Parliament, representing women's safety, women empowerment, and all those things and solving all our problems. All
Ma'am,
the
I
best.
don't know about politics, but yes, I will help in whatever I can do. I'm already on that path.
Definitely, we
I
are
will
there to
definitely
help
do
you.
it. Thank you so
Don't
much.
worry,
Thank you.
okay?
And thank you
Thanks
for
a
giving me
lot.
this opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
We can
Thank
end the
you.
Thanks to all of you.
Bye.
Prajakta.
It was a wonderful, wonderful
Thank you.
experience.
Happy Diwali.
Happy Diwali, Sagrana.
Sagrana, yes.
Thank
Happy
you.
Diwali.
Same to you.
And a very, 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 very happy birthday again, Sheila ji.
So sorry, Sheila ma'am. A very happy birthday to you.
Oh,
Wishing
thank
you
you.
good health and happiness.
Thank you. Thank you.
Shall we end the program?
Yes, yes. I'm closing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Ending the meeting.
Namaskar, everyone. Bye-bye.
Namaskar.
Ji.